2026 provides an opportunity to deliver even more progressive wins this November. Join us this summer ahead of the midterms by investing in the Progress Texas Summer Sustaining Donor Drive, funding pro-democracy, pro-justice, progressive messaging made by Texans for Texans. At Progress Texas, we're asking our supporters to become monthly donors, and for those already on the team, to increase their monthly support. Because with your partnership, we can get the message out across Texas in this critical year. We'll thank you with perks for progress. Choose from our exclusive Resist coffee mug, a Progress Texas summer koozie, or a progressive button pack. Plus, you'll get a shout out on the Daily Dispatch. Thanks in advance for doing your part to build the progressive Texas we all want to live in today.
Texans are hurting in a real way, these gas prices, and that's just on top of everything going up. Groceries going up, housing, electricity in a big way in Texas, and property taxes under Greg Abbott. People pay more, they get less. It is because Greg Abbott is doing the bidding of the corporate interests and not the people of Texas. So we pay more and we just benefit corporations and not people.
Democratic nominee for Texas Governor Gina Hinojosa on MS Now's The Weeknight last night. Her full interview is posted in the show notes this morning. It's Tuesday, August 18th, 2026, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch, rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. We can't do what we do without your support. Huge thanks to Allison Grinter-Allen, Pam Bingham, and Amy O'Neill for their ongoing sustaining partnership. Governor Greg Abbott finally broke his conspicuous silence on the carving up of Big Bend National Park by Donald Trump's federal contractors yesterday as an overwhelming and accelerating bipartisan outcry continues across Texas and the nation. Let's unpack the governor's statement carefully here, referring to Gabby Birnbaum's reporting for the Texas Tribune. Governor Abbott claims to have extracted a commitment from Trump Department of Homeland Security Secretary Markwayne Mullin that, quote, they will not be building a wall or a fence in Big Bend National Park, unquote, which says nothing of the roads that they've already cut through sensitive areas near Santa Elena Canyon, nor the bulldozing of the historic Porvenir site, which has also already happened. U.S. Customs and Border Protection Commissioner Rodney Scott has announced a temporary pause on all federally contracted construction in Big Bend National Park while he makes a personal trip down to look things over. Demonstrative at best, meaningless is more like it. Jessica Corbett at Common Dream says federal contractors have already done tremendous damage to the natural landscape in the park, clear-cutting pristine West Texas terrain, blasting roads, and destroying delicate ecosystems for vehicle barriers, lighting, and fiber optic lines, all exterior to the language of Mullin's supposed commitment to Governor Abbott. While a stop for now is a good thing, all parties concerned are emphasizing that it's temporary and likely a tactical delay, not a final victory. Rodney Scott, CBP, has previously mischaracterized the heavy and haphazard bulldozing that's occurred as simple survey work, proving once again that the word of federal agencies under Donald Trump is worthless. State Senator Roland Gutierrez has aggressively pursued a temporary restraining order to stop the destruction, while organizations like the Center for Biological Diversity have also continued their legal work, pushing federal courts for an emergency injunction. Organizers and advocates for the Big Bend are unanimous in seeing that the resistance to protect the area's natural heritage is far from over, and they pledge that their work will not yield until every federal contract is officially canceled, legal waivers are rescinded, and the bulldozers are permanently sent packing out of the park. Our commitment to the resistance is the same. The legal battle against the encroachment of religious dogma into our kids' public school classrooms continues as well. Michael Kunzelman and Jamie Stengel at the Associated Press say civil rights advocates alongside over 24 Texas families have petitioned the U.S. Supreme Court to strike down Texas's Senate Bill 10, which forces public schools to display the 10 Commandments in their classrooms. Represented by the ACLU, the parents argue that subjecting a captive audience of young students to state-sponsored scripture violates basic First Amendment guarantees regarding the separation of church and state. This high-stakes challenge arrives at the nation's highest court following a narrow decision by the conservative 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals that upheld SB 10. Should SCOTUS take up the case, we could be waiting until next summer before a decision. It would appear that the 10 Commandments are likely up for the duration of the school year just getting underway in Texas. Writing in an op-ed published in the Houston Chronicle, Audrey Nath, the Houston area mother and plaintiff in a state-level challenge against SB 10, explores how the state of Texas is actively picking winners among faiths by forcing a specific Protestant text onto religiously diverse classrooms, including how the state mandate directly attacks her own 9-year-old son, whose heritage includes Hinduism, Judaism, and Quakerism, by specifically excluding his family's non-Christian traditions. Nath points out that the state-mandated elevation of Christian dogma in an educational setting also promotes the retrograde concepts that lurk within, for example, archaic precepts regarding female property and slavery, that impressionable children are unprepared to properly contextualize. Another of the growing row of odious conservative touchstones this election cycle are those flock security cameras everyone's up in arms about. A couple things on that front this morning. First, Macy Meinhardt at the Houston Chronicle says opponents of those cameras are celebrating a win as Hood County has officially unplugged its flock safety automatic license plate readers, joining a growing wave of Texas communities saying no to the mass warrantless surveillance of their people. Hood County Constable John Shirley has become a bit of a social media sensation with his instructional videos on how to physically cover flock cameras using Amazon storage bags, a way to neutralize their functionality without resorting to potentially criminal vandalism. The movement against flock and other digital dragnet systems that violate fundamental constitutional rights, track everyday citizens, and lack proper oversight is growing, along with a general awakening to that long list of reasons that it's time for a change at the ballot box this fall, and alongside a growing list of documented cases of law enforcement misusing the flock network to abuse the data it collects to personally stalk individual people. Other Texas jurisdictions, including Guadalupe County, Bandera, and Lago Vista, have joined the list of communities severing ties with flock or putting the issue directly on local ballots. In our Monday meeting yesterday, Progress Texas Executive Director Kathleen Thompson turned me on to deflock.com. That's a website that lays out the location of flock cameras. I was dismayed to learn that there are 3 within about an eighth of a mile from my own house in Austin. This is not some small problem. Texas, especially around our urban centers, but really everywhere, is lousy with them. See that link in the show notes. And finally, y'all, yet another reason to vote for change in November, but a topic that frequently gets missed in this flooded zone lately, the sad state of reproductive health care in Texas as a direct result of our ham-fisted and deeply unscientific bans on abortion care. Mary Tuma at the Texas Observer writes on the state's plans to sweep as much of the human damage as possible under the rug. Texas's Maternal, Mortality, and Morbidity Review Committee, the MMRC, is facing backlash over its decision to bypass the years 2022 and 2023 in its upcoming report, the time frame immediately following the enforcement of the state's criminal abortion ban with the fall of Roe v. Wade in its upcoming report. Instead of evaluating the immediate post-ban fallout, the 23-member committee will jump straight to analyzing 2024 data, claiming that the skip forward is necessary to make its review process more contemporary, but reproductive rights advocates, medical experts, and Democratic lawmakers have ample reason to suspect the move is a politically motivated effort to suppress damning data to conceal the striking rise in preventable maternal deaths that's been directly caused by our state-mandated delays and denials of care. Our maternal mortality rate in Texas is cause for deep shame and outrage. It exceeds the national average, with an overwhelming 80% of maternal deaths in Texas deemed to have been preventable, and with Black women disproportionately suffering the burden. To further compound these transparency concerns, a statutory provision dating back to the MMRC's 2013 creation explicitly prevents it from reviewing deaths linked to self-managed abortions, which have also risen dramatically in the post-Roe era. Rather than providing lawmakers with the critical in-depth analysis and facts they'll need to address this crisis, instead those elected officials will have only a partial picture ahead of the 2027 legislative session. The state of Texas, led for decades by Republicans, is intentionally and openly obscuring the immense harm done to thousands of Texas women by Republican policy choices. This election year, you can support the real free press by investing in pro-democracy, pro-justice, progressive storytelling delivered by Texans for Texans. Join Progress Texas this summer ahead of the midterms and become a monthly donor today, or increase your giving during our summer sustaining donor drive. With your partnership, we can reach more independents, progressives, and young voters, all of whom must be mobilized to win elections this fall. And we'll thank you with Perks for Progress, your choice from an exclusive Resist coffee mug, a sweet Progress Texas summer koozie, and a progressive button pack. Plus, you'll get a shout out on the Daily Dispatch like this one for longtime monthly supporter Laura Kehoe of Dallas, who saw fit to up the ante. Laura, we appreciate you so much. and we hope to see you at our next live event in DFW. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Tuesday, August 18th, 2026. Links to all these original stories can be found in our show notes. Learn more about what we do and how you can get involved at progresstexas.org. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a terrific day. We'll catch you again right here tomorrow morning.